What's the point of all this talking if people don't see it?
That is an empty object.
But when we are trying to break a pattern,
it might take a few tries to rip free.
Well, it took 26 odd years, but I finally get it. I have a body.
And I feel stuck, and that's the problem. But like talking about it doesn't change anything. I need to take action, and thinking and speaking is an action, kind of, but
I feel stuck.
This is me. I'm almost 25,
now 26,
and I doubt everything.
I've been thinking a lot about how I just want to live my life. Use my time on this earth. What do I want to be? What I want to be in this world. To be so confident.
I get frustrated sometimes.
Feeling like my own house. Involved in my life. I think I want to have a good time. It's just that I don't know who I am. I feel a kind of vague anxiety about this whole enterprise of living. That is a mood in which I find myself on the daily.
How do you approach a problem that can't be put into words? That's difficult to pin down and impenetrable.
I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. I don't know how to spend my time. I'm trying to think, what do I want to do? What can I prioritize? How can I prioritize?
There's this feeling I'm falling behind in life, like I can't keep up. I'm running in circles. There's so many things that I could do that I want to experience.
There's so many options, and if I do set a goal, then I'm constantly measuring myself in relation to that expectation.
I feel overwhelmed and inspired.
Nothing gets done and I'm back to square one.
Now I'm just trying not to stress about the big E, everything. You know, everything. I'm trying to just focus more on the tiny details.
I've got these big dreams that I want to actualize. I want to live up to my full potential, but these things take time. I've got to learn to be patient, step by step, little and often, gradually, and then suddenly.
If you can define it, do it. Put it into words, you can put it into practice. Set the goal, you can get it.
Well, how do I start? Where do I begin?
I'm doubting myself, and I'm scared of being vulnerable. It's hard to express myself because I'm so insecure. And then I just get frustrated, and I'm like, why am I doing this? Why do I want to do this? Why
I'm self-conscious
am I putting myself in this position?
and shy.
I feel like I set myself up for failure.
I feel under a lot of pressure. Much of it is my own doing. I set myself up for failure.
It's a recurring frustration in my life. I get inspired and then I lose the inspiration. But on simple answer would just be go with it.
Go with it,
Run with
run
it.
with it, just do it. I should
Stop
do it.
self-doubt.
I was
Stop
scared. I get
self-doubt.
stuck in my
Selfie-facing and self-chastising.
Just
confident.
do
Your
it.
insecurities.
Myself.
Don't
worry about being vulnerable.
That's
That's
what
what
makes
makes
it
it
well.
well. If you're not uncomfortable,
not
doing something too much shame, doubt, system, just in a system, fear, treadmills.
And if you're on a treadmill, eventually you'll be unfulfilled. If you're on a field, what are you doing with your creative mind?
block?
On a creative treadmill, because there's so many things I want to and can
So
do,
many things I
and
want to
would
do.
if only I did them. But since I don't, I feel like a failure. I feel like I'm not doing enough. I feel like nothing is worthwhile at the same time. So why would I do it if it's not worthwhile? Why don't do it? It makes it even more. Well, what am I even saying?
Yeah.
About that.
What am I saying?
It's hard to be vulnerable. Even harder to be
vulnerable consistently and to kind of live in that state. It's exhausting. It takes so much energy, but it's almost required to be able to at least being vulnerable with yourself, giving yourself the space to feel what you feel and not shutting the entire process down before it even gets started.
But I feel like I have so many different things and to like do.
Show yourself.
And I'm always doubting myself. I can never do anything.
Expressing myself is something that I've struggled with for quite some time.
Really, my whole life.
In my past, I felt self-conscious, so I would just keep my thoughts to myself. But eventually that habit built up enough, I don't know, that it kind of just became my default mode of being, and that eventually I blocked even myself from some of my thoughts.
It feels like my whole life I've been running from myself.
Emotions are something that come naturally.
Yeah, I feel depressed and I don't know how to talk about it.
I learned to abandon myself before I could even conceive of a self to abandon.
I want to be able to express myself. I want to be able to articulate my thoughts and be well spoken and engaged in conversation and empathize with people, but it takes so much psychic energy. And I'm exhausted. I'm so tired, and I've been tired for so long. I don't know how to take care of my body. Psychic energy. I'm unable to access my own emotions, thoughts, feelings. I don't even have a semblance of who I think I am, who I want to be. I'm so scared to admit any desire that I may have that I just don't have access to it anymore. I feel cut off the ability to imagine because ourselves outside of ourselves, inability to commune with myself in that way.
I've lost touch.
It just leaves me overwhelmed,
stressed,
and
I just don't know what I'm doing with my life.
Unable to do much about it.
How do you cope with that?
It's through the process of expression that we're actually able to tell what we're experiencing. But there's almost a shame associated with that. There's a shame associated with being myself to the fullest extent. It feels selfish. It feels self-centered. Like people say, oh, just be yourself. But then when I try to be myself and I like give it an honest shot and things don't go well, it feels like I am inadequate. It feels like I am worthless. It feels like there's an alarm that goes off in my head that's like, this is not right. This is not right. There's a feeling that something is deeply wrong with my existence. This is not right. You're messing up. Go back. I'm uncomfortable and I'm stressed and I'm overwhelmed. And it's easier just to not try at all and try to push those feelings away and ignore them and not address them. But that's only going to,
so rather than
in the long run, contribute to a kind of cognitive dissonance,
uncomfortable feeling.
Pushes
rather, I just choose chronic avoidance.
Dislodges different parts of myself. And I'm
deeply
confused by
looking at myself in the mirror.
That's kind of a crap reality to live in, but that's the truth. And as soon as we take responsibility for ourselves, we also have the chance, the choice, the opportunity to, but also the challenge to be who we are outside of the external factors that shaped us when we were growing up.
Growing up to me has been really challenging because I'm trying to figure out what I believe and how I feel and how to navigate all these different moving parts. And it requires me to be quite vulnerable and honest with myself, which is really, 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 really hard because cognitive dissonance and self-deception are.
Let's go.
Just trying to figure out the way. And I can't, like, the problem, if I were to confront the problem would go away. So I need to catch myself avoiding myself and stop it. But that's difficult.
Permeating
Great movie.
through.
What's the sound too?
Feed the beast.
I don't try to avoid myself, but it just kind of happens. I'm in this natural, alienated state. I don't try to avoid myself. It just kind of happens, and then I kind of lackluster, don't really know what direction to go.
Let's cross here. Looks safe for me.
So difficult to do.
What am I doing with my life? Like, that's a very vague question, and I want to make the world a better place. I want to express myself. I want to be seen and heard and witnessed, but I'm also terrified of social space. I'm scared to be noticed. I'm avoiding attention at all costs, and, you know,
to do.
See, we're gonna go here.
But I have to do
And to
something.
not give in to anxiety or depression or any
No doubt about it.
Constantly pressuring myself and stressing myself out with responsibilities that
I feel short on time. There's so many things that I want to do and that I
want to keep myself accountable to, but idealistically and unrealistically, so that I always feel like a failure, like I'm not good enough, like I'm not living up to
my own expectation of
what I should be.
which is further complicated by the fact that I don't think it can be put into words.
I've been trying to express myself more in hopes that that will help me arrive at some kind of conclusion that might mark an end to this phase in my life, to kind of bring me into the next season. But it's difficult because these things take time. They aren't easily packageable. At what point do I take responsibility for the social conditions that constitute my day-to-day life and make meaningful changes to my
Can you hear the power
environment,
lines?
selfhood in a way that facilitates positive growth?
It's got to be a
and
high-pitched tone, right?
long-lasting,
Kind of sounds like chirping, but it's steady.
easily packageable experiences. And I want to be, even as I try to plan my life and put dates on things and set deadlines, there's always going to be the residual leftover feelings of stuff that's just messy and unresolved. And there's so much going on and stuff that I would like to get done. And it's just so hard to really live up to my potential, or like, what has to get done in order for me to feel like I can reward myself with a break and actually relax without having some guilt or voice in the back of my head just kind of reminding me how privileged I am.
I'm scared. I don't like being alive. I don't like who I am. I don't see myself as a person. I don't know how to interact with people. I don't know how to talk to people. I don't know how to use my voice. I get scared. It doesn't matter. I get scared. It doesn't matter. I get scared. I think of all I have to do, but then never do it, because I think about it too much and then procrastinate and do something else instead. No matter how much I plan, no matter how much I think ahead, I fail. I set myself up for failure.
I put myself under a lot of pressure, but it's in service of
A well-intentioned
wanting to give myself the ability to achieve all that I know that I am capable of, if only I could extend myself and commit to
the discipline that is required to actually go about materializing one's dreams. There's sacrifice involved there that I'm still not quite sure how to approach. And it's difficult because there's a lot that goes into this.
It's my responsibility to take action toward my goals. And in order to do that, I need to understand them. And in order to understand them, I need to put them into words, or at least put them in a context which makes sense to me. And in order to make sense of them, it requires a kind of sacrifice, because it requires making decisions. And decisions are difficult because action. Take action. Why don't you take action? Well, like right now, what should you be doing? What can you be doing? What can you do? How can we act? How can we take action? Yeah, I spend so much time trying to avoid this vague anxiety, when really it's just this antsy anticipation of not having created, of not making art. I'm not spending nearly enough time making, creating, constructing, destroying, bringing back together, reforming. Why don't you take action? Well, like right now, what should you be doing? What can you be doing? What can you do? How can we act? How can we take action? The truth explodes. Any one step in any direction is possible, but it has to be one step. You can only do so many things at once. And so in choosing one step in any particular direction, that necessarily entails the death of all other possibilities, at least in that moment. And that's scary. That's overwhelming. It's tragic that any act of creation necessarily entails an equal act of infinite destruction.
It feels like I hold myself back and
hide from everyone.
Needlessly so.
But I'm so afraid of what I crave.
So what does it actually take to be myself? What does it actually take to figure? Well, it takes time. It takes time. And one of the things that you need to understand is that it takes a great deal of time. Nothing stays the same. Everything changes.
A bit.
The whole universe is shifting.
And
so when we try to be who we are,
it's as
we
if
have to understand that
for a
our true self isn't stagnant. Our true self isn't fixed. It isn't
engaging.
How do you say? Immovable, unchanging, eternal. It's timeless per se, but it's not that we are the same yesterday as we were today as we were tomorrow. Rather, it's that we're arriving in each moment as we are, curious and determined in some sense to embody our identity
that all is
by
one, that
a process of discovery and experimentation and
irreducibly
and genuine curiosity.
Cohesively, comprehensively
awareness in the moment
connected
is what
creating
we need to hold our attention on to be ourselves
in consciousness.
Does that make any sense?
Pointing
to
gesture
exactly
in a certain direction.
Ultimately, I think what I'm trying to get is just this feeling of being disoriented in the
we're
world
alive.
and not knowing where I belong.
And there are no
what my
words for
place
it.
is,
For
not
that,
knowing
for,
what is home.
There are no words.
In order to have a dream, it helps to have strong desire. And in order to have strong desire, it helps to have clarity. And clarity comes from attuned intent. It's actually very difficult to admit to myself that I want some things, that I have goals. It's frustrating because when I try to use language and articulate what I want,
the clearer my desires become, the smaller I feel in a way, because they feel more distant than ever. Maybe my desires are so big that I feel like I have to deny myself even the recognition that they're there.
I feel like I have stuff to share.
I don't know what I want
to share or think about
follow
how I
through.
say
Doubt.
is lose all motivation and my sense of self collapses, and there's nothing I can do to salvage the bits and pieces to put them together.
Habits of just my ambition exceeds my ability.
I want to do so many things before I die.
I feel stuck. There's so many creative projects.
What is the clearer
Do I
vision I have for this?
Time takes
The
energy.
more
I want to
able
produce.
to make it
I
a
want to
mission
create.
and to make
I want to get my hands dirty.
what I want to make.
Time in with the
I
pen in
know
my hand.
that I can't make
sketching on. I don't have that
anything
structure.
perfect,
But I want to shoot video structure.
but it is entirely gradually to make changes in my life. But there are some undying habits that make it difficult to proceed
And that's
with progress being irregular.
I feel like I'm
as
constantly underperforming. I feel like I'm not living up
At
to
the
my
end of the
potential.
day,
And when I do try to do things that keep me on the right track, it doesn't feel like I'm making progress. It's hard to.
I'm dreading the fact
Self-evidence. I have more to do now.
that's going to
Getting caught up in the process.
My imagination is so powerful that I can always imagine more than what is possible. So I'm always
Overthinking.
comparing myself, or at least what am I supposed to do as an
self-doubting,
as a young adult in this world? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to make of all this? How am I
It's
supposed
the
to
transition that's hard. It's the starting that's so deceptively difficult. Because in actuality, once I'd be beyond the process and trust
It's important to me that I build
and let go
a sense of self-trust
and let it happen.
that I have faith in my emotional and mindful
That's it.
well-being.
That's all I need to do.
I want
But
to
getting
feel free
to
to
that starting point
express
is so
consciousness.
difficult to stay motivated and to feel like I'm actually accomplishing anything. Even though, from a certain perspective, I am unquestionably so, it's just so slow that it doesn't feel like it.
And there's this paradox where I want to do so many different things, but I end up doing absolutely nothing. What I am attempting
is something I've been trying to do but failing at for years.
What I am attempting to gesture at here is a general approach to life, an orientation in the world, a way of being that allows for becoming. And that tension between what is and what could be is at the core of my identity, between who I am and who I imagine myself to become. And it's
Overwhelming.
why is
It's so complicated.
why am I making it more complicated than it needs to be? Well, it's not just because I'm doing it. I'm just acting out the patterns and processes and models that I was given when I was a kid, when I was a child, and this is just what it looks like. This is what me doing my best looks like, and that's disappointing because I can see myself being so much more. It's disappointing that this is the best I can do. I want to be better. I want to. And at this point in the process, I'm, yes, doing the best I can, but I also keep coming up against this wall. I keep getting.
This next part of the video, this next part of this video, this next section,
I feel stuck, and
I feel stuck.
there's nothing I can really do about
I
it
feel
because at the moment I feel stuck. 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 I'm
Wall. I keep getting
just tired, and I need
stuck.
rest.
what can I even do at this point to
You know,
change?
I feel stuck. I feel stuck and I'm not really sure what to do about it.
I feel unable to look after myself.
I feel like I'm always catching up to myself.
I'm sad.
I'm falling behind.
It's difficult for me to posit a space from which to take up a subjective point of view.
I feel incapable of taking care of myself.
I feel helpless.
Unable to look after my basic needs.
I feel stuck.
I get ahead of myself. I stand in my own way.
I'm terrified.
I set myself up for failure.
I feel like I can't do anything right. I feel like I'm
placing unrealistic expectations on myself.
Really sure.
Without that, I feel directionless and I feel
I'm
lost.
scared.
letting
I'm
myself
frustrated.
and not
measure
focusing.
I'm disgusted
I'm not
with
committed
myself.
But it's
to a
always
direction.
I don't believe in myself.
Not
I don't know how to
extending
validate
my
myself.
desire.
And there's nothing I can
giving
really point
structure
to and say that
intention.
is the problem.
I'm just kind
This
of
is what's been messing me up. If I can fix this, I can fix that. No, there's nothing like that.
Dilly-dallying.
It's just this vague anxiety,
really grounded.
this ambiguous mess.
this vague anxiety is impossible to articulate, and yet it persists, and I don't know what to do about it. This tension in my gut, my stomach burns. I can't make sense of it. I can't make sense of this life, of this world, of myself.
I feel defeated.
It's also confusing and disorienting and
I feel like a failure.
discomforting.
I don't even know what living without this vague anxiety would even look like, what it would feel like. It's so overwhelming and discouraging, and
I feel frozen.
I feel like I'm not doing
I
enough.
feel stuck,
Nothing is worthwhile.
inadequate,
Just completely, utterly stuck.
incapable of identifying what's really going on underneath it all.
I don't get to have the clarity that if I were to actually understand this situation, I'm sure I would cry. I'm sure my heart would break, but I don't get that luxury of knowing what's wrong. I'm just cursed to feel that something is wrong without ever really knowing what.
The truth is, I don't spend nearly enough time making art. I don't spend nearly enough time creating my space and being in my space. The truth is, I try to escape through my phone. I try to escape through digital screens, through online content, mind slop, brain sludge, bedrock.
Or I try to address the issue head on and recognize that the world is dizzying and disorienting, and that if I want to get a clear, honest, accurate picture of it, it's going to be a long, arduous process. It's going to be a Herculean journey of trial and error, and I'm going to have to go through so many cycles of this disorganization and feeling stuck, yes, not knowing what's going on, and having to be able to handle this ambiguity and this ambivalence, and it's just so overwhelming that I'm not even able to conceive of what it would look like to even get to that point, because I'm so overwhelmed in this present moment that I feel helpless and I'm not able to make any step in any direction because it's so overwhelming. It's so stressful.
I feel stuck because I'm not moving. I'm behind because my mind is always going to be more imaginative than what my physical capabilities are. I can always envision something far beyond what I'm capable of anytime. And that's the beauty of it, and I have to make peace with that tension and not accept it or try to shy away from it, but to live in that space,
I'm just
that
watching
tension,
the world happen,
that,
and I just wish I could go to sleep and never wake up.
I get stuck in this all or nothing thinking, and it's
I feel terrible
killing
that
me.
I'm not
It's
able to take
literally
responsibility for
making it
myself
so
and
that I
actually
can't
be who I want to be. I'm not able to live up to my ideal self. I'm not able to actually commit to the discipline that's required to bring
I'm
about
having a really
substantial
difficult
change. I'm
time
not
actually doing
able
the
to
things
really
that I want
articulate
to
any
do
of this in the
in
moment.
life.
It's just
I'm
kind of
having
this feeling of
depression
being
times
lost
doing the things I say
and
every
not
single
knowing what to
day.
do. And I've felt this for so long. It just doesn't seem to be going away. And it's so discouraging.
I
I just want to give up.
I don't really do it. I'm trying to figure out why, but sometimes you can't really think your way out of a problem. You just have to move, mother. Do it.
Sometimes unable to focus
Do it.
with any real
I'm not
certainty.
the story I tell myself
That's
is
what matters most to me. But it feels like I can't even hold that what matters most to me.
what is energy? As soon as I start doing something, I tend to
stale,
the energy to mundane.
I don't know, I feel lost. I don't know what to do.
Dysregulated.
all fades into the
I feel like
stale.
I'm stuck, but I haven't been able to get into a rhythm. I haven't been able to get going, get moving. I haven't been able
And
to.
I feel so far
lean
behind,
into a
I don't know
process
where to
that
begin.
feels practical and
I know that it's possible to improve. I know that things can get better. I know that well-being is possible.
but I need to perform at such a high level that it's really
But it still feels so out of reach. It feels completely.
I know I need to do things. I know I need to take action. I know there's a specific set of things that I need to do to engage in space. If I have change in
but no
but I just
follow
don't have
through,
energy.
all I'm
I
doing
don't
is
have.
kind of guaranteeing my internal suffering. So I need to.
Whenever I
money
take
where my mouth
action,
is.
And I feel stuck. And it doesn't feel like I can do anything about it.
I'm scared. I feel stuck.
This perfection.
There's
Scared.
nothing I can do about it.
Just do it. But that's
Terrified.
scary. So what I know that I need to do then
It
is
doesn't
a
feel
little
worth it. None of this feels worth it.
But what if I don't
Again,
want to do
I
it
just want to
often?
go to bed and
What if I
never
don't
wake
want to
up.
do a little? So what if I just want to avoid the whole thing? Well, why do I want to avoid it? I want to avoid it because it's so much. It's so overwhelming. 8 hours on my phone. Oh God, there's so much to do on YouTube Shorts. Not really sure if this life is worth it. No difference feels in my immediate material conditions and probably negatively affect the social relations of my life. There is no point.
Whenever I feel like the
But
need to create,
part of it
there's
I know that the hard work will make
also
everything
feel like I
in my life and just
should do
completely
or that I
push it
have
all
to
out.
do before I do that. So
and
it's like
I'm
for some
isolating.
reason creation is my
I'm
last
staying
priority.
inside
because it goes
indoors
after schoolwork, after
far
socializing,
too much.
after
I'm not doing the things I enjoy.
self-hygiene, after
I
any of the
don't
shit that I
know
don't
how to
even
get
really
out
do.
of this
Like I don't
spiral
shower
because it just feels
I
like a
don't
lot of
brush my
pressure
teeth
that I'm putting on
nearly
myself.
enough. I
And I know
don't
that I should relax. I
exercise
know
nearly enough.
everything
Next
I
to
need
nothing.
to not
I,
do this, but I do it
Don't
anyway.
eat healthy nearly
I'm
enough. I
punishing
don't,
myself for
I
something.
don't do like
I'm
any of these things that ideally I would have down
just
to
not
a
happy
regime,
about
down
the
to a
state of the
system,
world.
down to a
I'm
routine that keeps
struggling to
that's
find
sustainable.
motivation. I feel
And
stuck.
it's okay
and
for now.
I
Like
regret
it's been okay.
not
And it will be okay.
using my time
But it's
more
not
productively, more effectively.
okay
Everything is
because
like literally piling up, and
I don't know if I have
just don't
this
have
best self.
the will
I don't know
or
if I have
motivation
I don't know
to.
what my best self would be, but I know
You don't have the
that
energy to
it
do what
is
needs to get done.
someone
scared.
not me.
And I just want to keep.
I don't know if I have a best self,
I'm ashamed.
what that would be, but I know that it's not me.
You gotta be honest with yourself. You gotta be honest with yourself, okay? Because how else could you be yourself? If you're not honest, you gotta practice vulnerability.
I think what's important is that I'm learning how to live, you know. At first I wasn't sure how I felt about having a body, but it's growing on me.
You gotta practice vulnerability. It gets easier. It gets fun. You gotta practice vulnerability. You know what? You know what? You know what? Maybe it's hilarious that this is the best I can do. Maybe it's funny. Maybe it's humorous. Maybe it's silly that this is the best I can do, because no matter how hard I try it, no matter how much I attempt and give it my best shot. I always come up short. I always fail. It's a constant almost, not quite, just off the mark. It's a goddamn comedy that maybe it's hilarious that this is the best I can do. Maybe it's a goddamn comedy. This mess of my life is me doing my best. Maybe it's freaking funny. It's kind of hilarious. Like, this is my honest attempt. This is me authentically trying to be myself. Maybe my life is a comedy. Maybe the fact that this is me honestly, authentically giving it my best shot. And I feel like I'm failing catastrophically.
In a way that enables me.
It's funny that this is the best I can do, and I feel like a fool.
And change, and yet
I
offers
feel
me at least some
silly.
stability as to
I feel like a
take action in
clown.
the world from a stance of
This is
intentionality.
my honest attempt at
I'm experiencing
being
a
myself.
lot
This is
of
me trying my hardest. This
what
is.
it means to be alive right now, and I'm trying to
I feel like
not
a disaster.
construct my
But what else can I do?
identity,
I
but
can only do the
stage
best I can
my
with what I have. That's all
subjectivity.
that can be done. So what I'm attempting to do here is something for the first time, and that and maybe it's not, maybe I've done this before. I just feel like my life is a mess, and I'm trying to get it together. Get it together. Get it together, get it together, get it together. Little and often. Step by step. Gradually, then suddenly. I just get in my own way. I get in my head. I set myself up for failure by...
I know there's a lot to do. I know there's so much going on in my head, and that
I want to be able to practice the courage to take an interest in my life and consider what it means to actualize my potential.
But that
I'm trying
requires
to
taking a
break
step
through
back and
this structure that
breathing
I've
in
entrapped
planning my
myself
future.
in,
and planning has something
and in some way
very
refuse to extend
intangible
myself beyond
about
because
it.
I'm
And it's
afraid.
almost
I'm
like we
afraid
can
I'm going
only
to get
better
hurt.
at it through practice, and so
I'm afraid
in
it's going to
practicing, we
open
need
up
to get
trauma
comfortable
again.
with
I'm afraid
being
that
uncomfortable,
it's
because
not
that
going to be
vulnerability is
actually
what
what I'm
allows
looking
us
for. That it's not
to
going to be
grow.
what I want.
It's
I won't
pushing
know
ourselves
until I
beyond
do
our
it,
comfort
until I
zone
actually.
so we can
But that's
tap into our
vulnerability,
limitless
right?
potential.
Putting
It's
myself
not
out
something
there,
that
putting
we can
myself,
ever fully
putting my
actualize or
art,
become
putting my
self-transcendent.
passion on the line,
No.
and betting on myself.
I am not trying to actualize my potential. I shouldn't be trying to actualize my potential as if I can ever reach full potential. No, the very definition of potential resists definition. And so rather than try to reach that kind of end state, that goal, rather it's to exist in the presence of potentiality itself, to restore to actuality the possibility of potential in the first place. Potentiality itself exists in actuality. There are so many different paths and ways forwards. And so I have to be able to acknowledge and recognize the coordinates of my given situation while also seeking and searching and striving to imagine what's possible.
Tap into our limitless potential. It's
myself
not
out
something
there,
that
putting
we can
myself-
ever fully
putting my,
actualize or
art,
become
putting my
self-transcendent.
passion on the line,
No.
and betting on myself, or
It's that,
just believing in myself and actually
embodiment,
committing to
that groundedness, that being
my needs,
in the
my
world,
wants, my desires,
that
my ambition, my
temporal becoming
aspirations.
that's
These are things
rooted
that
in presence.
It's so easy to shut down and try to avoid everything and just doom scroll all day. Brain rot, bed rot, just brain drain, right? What am I doing with my life? What am I doing with this one wild and precious life? We want to live pure, we want to live clean, we want to do our best. I've spent this whole video shielding myself from actual vulnerability because there's something about my past, a truth that I don't know how to communicate, and it feels like another life that haunts me.
I'm not making as much art as I should be. I'm not making nearly enough creative stuff. I'm kind of slowly coming to the realization that it's all about the space around me. I need to enact change on the space around me.
Commit to the bit. Commit to the bit. Commit to the bit. Commit to the bit. You gotta commit to the bit, okay? You gotta commit to the bit. You gotta commit to the bit. You gotta commit to the bit. What is the bit? The bit.
It's challenging because my identity, like my early formative years, I was totally absorbing, I was raised in a Christian family. I identified as Christian. That was my entire lens of making sense of the world, and at a certain point that lens broke down. I could no longer make sense with it, and so I had to figure out what the heck is going on, and that felt scary and sinful and disgusting and very shameful. And I had to admit to myself in the most intimate core of my being that I did not believe what I had convinced myself that I did believe. More than anything, what I had held to be true for my entire life turned out to be emptiness. And that nothing, that abyss, that void, what do I do with that? What do I do to be
actually
more
take the action
in
that I
my
want to,
body?
but actually have to fight against the choice architecture that's been designed by phones to be as addictive as possible, because that's an easy escape and that makes it easier than vulnerability. Being on my phone is a defense against vulnerability, against emotional openness, against social tension that's always there, but there's no vulnerability without risk. There's no vulnerability without fear. Well, you got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of your body. You got to wash. You got to rinse. You got to clean. You got to organize. You got to care. You got to brush. You've got to floss. You've got to stretch. You've got to work out. You've got to exercise. You've got to move. You've got rhythm. I'm stuck because I don't move. Okay? I'm stuck because I spend too much time on my phone as an escape to avoid the reality that I'm alive, that I'm here, that I have a body, that I have a brain, that I have limited time, that I have been traumatized, that I need to heal, that I have emotions, that I have chores to do, I have responsibilities. I'm an adult, but I'm a kid. I'm just a kid. I'm just a kid. I'm just a child doing their absolute best in a fucked up world. And if I'm not able to give myself grace in that process of awakening to the fact that I am alive, what are we doing? I mean, why am I so insistent on making life miserable for myself? Why do I project onto others the judgment that really is coming from inside me?
I spend most of my time avoiding the fact that I have a body, that I am a body, that it means to be somebody to me, as me. For I have choices to make. And one way is to choose otherwise. How did we get to this point?
The point, what is the point?
However,
I'm trying to, I think,
to move in your body, somebody at home in this flesh, to be alive and well and worthwhile, and to live with a sense of dignity, with a sense of wonder.
Ultimately, that means
Rhythm.
I need to get better at communicating.
and realize what it's like to be alive,
at
to
self-care.
have
I need to
consciousness,
understand
self,
my human
experience
limitations,
these
my
sense
animal
perceptions
instincts,
and
my primal
this personal
urges,
narrative and
my
these historical patterns, and
there's this concept of identity.
it's really exciting, but it's also really
which we
disorienting. And I
make,
feel short on time
we
because I am
construct
25
ourselves.
and,
But in order to
I feel more myself
construct
now than
an
ever
identity
before. I feel
in
like
the
I've
first
got
place,
sense
one
of the
must
world. I feel like I can actually
stage
grab onto something.
subjectivity,
It's felt like for
stage
so long,
one subjectivity
for so long,
as
it's felt
to
like I've just been
enable
falling and unable
the
to get any footing
emergence
whatsoever. I've been
of
unable
a self.
to grab onto anything or
There has to
get
be
a hold of it.
subjectivity
I've just been in limbo. I've just been
before the
collapsing
fact.
into this void.
So that after
with
the
no
fact,
orientation of upright,
after
left,
the
down.
act
Now I feel like
of
I've
self-awareness,
actually, like,
there was
brushed up against
awareness
the wall
in the
and
first
I can
place.
feel it, and I've got some
So
footing,
there's this
and
tension
I'm able
between
to do something about it. Now I have
constructing
to
an
climb out of this
identity
hole,
and
I
staging
have to
one's
help others
subjectivity.
climb out of their
And in
holes,
order
and
for
this
either of those to take place
is probably my
requires
life's work,
an even deeper,
climbing out of holes that
fundamental,
I've dug
elementary
and fallen
gesture
into.
of
Vulnerability. But not just vulnerability, also a
elementary gesture of
difference that makes a difference. There's no courage without vulnerability.
There's no vulnerability without courage.
Sleep, diet, exercise, hygiene, sunlight, outdoors.
And I'm trying to protect my inner
social,
child that I never really. But at the same time, I felt like my inner child never really had. Like there's so many expectations that I place on myself. There's so many things wrong in the world. So what am I doing? What am I doing? What can I do? What am I doing with my life? What am I doing with this one wild and precious life? Am I wasting it? Am I wasting my life? If I'm doing the best I can, and that's all I can do, I just need to be gentle and try to sync up with natural cycles, organic rhythms, these systemic structures. How can I go about that in a way that facilitates a kind of gentle accumulation of momentum that builds up a tolerance and expands my capacity and opens up my potential and strengthens my ability and reassures my self-doubt and empowers me to unleash creative flourishing. That's what I want out of life. I want creative flourishing. But I'm terrified. I'm scared. I'm ashamed to express myself.
I got so much fun things I could do, but it's
So what do I do?
I have to go to bed and I have to be responsible.
What do I do? I avoid myself. I avoid, distract,
Self-doubt
push away,
has limitless potential.
and
Self-doubt has
it
limitless
builds up
potential.
over time. This tension,
That
this
is the
unfulfilled
difficulty that I'm trying to
loss,
express here,
this
because
broken
yes, it's
connection,
important that
this
I take
as
a
a
posture of
anxiety,
self-compassion
and
receptive to all the
it's also clear, but
an
knowing
inward curiosity
how
and
it works,
love
for
doesn't
change it from happening.
and,
I know very
yet
well what I'm
still
doing when I'm
to
sitting
actually
on the
bring
couch
forth any
scrolling
6 hours
change
on
the
doubt.
shorts.
I know what I'm
Doubt
doing.
is what makes possible
Having headphones in my
momentum.
ears
There's no
all the
success, there's no
time,
continuation
blocking
of
out
limitless
I know what I'm
potential.
doing
in my
when
life,
I'm
and I'm trying to get
sleeping
clarity
in,
on that.
not going
and I'm
into
trying
work,
to
and just
get,
slacking off
in
because
tune
I
with
don't have the
my
energy. I can't
highest
bear
value,
to bring myself
desire,
to
my
face
dream
the world.
Let's say it's creative flourishing, and
Today,
I want limitless potential
myself,
for my creative flourishing. That
my
seems like a
current
reasonable, but
situation,
it's not really
my
possible. I
present
need
life
to set
conditions,
deadlines.
it's
I
all
need to
overwhelming
follow constraints
and
because it's from that structure,
numbing,
the freedom within those
and
lines
I've
fun to
just
break.
rather avoid it.
I need the
than
structure in
confront
the
it,
first
because
place to break. So
confronting
in that sense, I'm not
that
setting myself up for
is
failure.
a
I'm
life's
just setting myself
work.
up to play with the rules. I'm just setting myself
And,
up to, you know,
still not sure how I feel
have
about
structure,
this whole life
and
thing.
that is allowing
I
me
have
to actually take
my good
action.
days, and I
Otherwise,
have
I'm just
my bad days,
paralyzed.
and
And
I don't want to end
can't really
my
do
life
much when
as
you're
much
all
as I used
frozen
to,
up.
but
And
I'd be lying
what
if
usually
I
happens
told
when
you
I
that it
am
doesn't
in a
cross my mind
continuous
every once in
kind
a
of
while.
constant chronic
These are strange
freeze
times.
is
The
eventually
world is changing
my
fast.
energy gets
The
so bottled up
existential
and clogged
threat
up that eventually that
feels so
frozen
greater
fear turns into
than
a
any other time in human history.
chaotic
just because of what
meltdown.
we know, just because of what we're exposed to, just
a
because
nervous breakdown,
we're waking up to the fact
a nervous break,
that we are destroying ourselves,
a
we
negative
are
spiral, a
corrupting
depressive
this
episode,
planet and
an,
exploiting
panic attack,
people.
anything, call it what you like.
But it sucks. And if there's a way not to experience that, I mean, need to do better. I need to do better.
Couldn't I learn not to? How about just not? Let's
But it's
not
overwhelming.
go down
I don't
this,
always feel supported. I
negative,
don't know how to reach
toxic,
out for help. I
harmful
don't feel
spiral
comfortable expressing
anymore.
myself.
I want to cut that off and build a more multi-mediatic, build an interdisciplinary, multimedia approach to life. That's what my goal is. That's what my passion is. But I keep getting distracted and I keep avoiding it because the task seems so monumental, because it's nothing short of changing the world. And yet, small changes are how I'm going to get there. And so, I think I'm making progress. I think I am making progress. I think I am making progress. I am making progress. It just doesn't feel fast enough. Why doesn't it feel fast enough? Why do I not allow myself the patience that's required to actually bring about substantial change? Why do I get in my own head? Why do I get frustrated by how slow it is? Why do I let my frustration and impatience get in the way of actually getting there? Because the more impatient I get, the more frustrated I get, the more the more counterproductive I get, because I end up punishing myself for not doing more than I can in the moment. I need to be patient and gradually build up momentum, and yet here we are. I will never turn around fast enough to catch myself. Here we are. And part of that is just not being able to give myself the space that's required to. And if actually, I find myself, how do I know what is mirror too much? Well, I'm learning that reflection through the process, and I'm leaning into doing too much rather than too little, because it's easier to live with burnout than it is to live with feeling lazy or being labeled complacent. But in the long run, maybe it's better to err on the side of caution and just not burn out. Maybe just stop doing so much, stop putting so much pressure on myself to perform at a certain level that no one else cares about except me, but I feel like the whole world depends on it. Maybe it depends on me just being gentle with myself and not just saying that, but actually doing it. And maybe that self-awareness will actually come in handy if I'm able to push past my social anxiety and depressive tendencies and actually reach out and then engage with people and be motivated to actually... But how do I even start? Where do I begin? And when do I begin to
be myself. It requires focus. It requires attention. 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 To detail. To tune into intent. And breathe. This back and forth movement, these slip-ups and setbacks, that give way to new demonstrations of capability, of confidence. Maybe I'm stuck because I don't move. I just freeze response, and I avoid at all costs. But what I'm missing out on is genuine human connection, is creative flourishing, is everything that makes life worth living, is the possibility of attuned intent. Where are you trying to go? Assemblages tend in a direction. We can go anywhere, but where do we go from here? All of us. Me specifically. I will live the rest of my life from this moment. And that is terrifying. And I will live this moment again and again and again every time I replay this video, every time I listen to this audio that I currently am voicing in real time. I don't know what my next words will be unless I've already said this before, unless I'm saying this again and again and again, and I'm trying my best. And my best is not enough. And it never will be. Because my best is always what's to come. My best is giving it my best shot, leaning into what will probably be a bad idea, but will probably be failure. I won't be able to actualize my potential, but I can restore the dimension of potentiality to actuality itself. I can redefine what's possible each failed attempt and build on those breaks, and on those failures I will succeed in beginning again and again and again and again and again. I want to be able to know what's real, know what's true. I want to be able to connect. I need to work on my relation to, relation with, relation for, relation of love. I'm afraid of what I crave. I desire truth, love, justice, and yet shy away from confrontation. I avoid conflict. I resist this tension. But I need to give a tension in order to be with this space, in order to hold space and give attention and tend to my needs, my desires, my drive. Where do I want to go? It's a huge question, and I'm just trying to figure out the way. I'm 26 years old. I'm just trying to live, man. I'm just trying to live. And if I can't give myself grace in that process, then I have to recognize that the present moment is full of potential. I need to recognize and restore to actuality the dimension of potentiality. I'm not trying to actualize potential. I'm trying to potentialize the actual. Potentializing actuality means breathing love here and now. Reality was alive with creative possibility, but systemic conditioning has deadened our capacity to sense what's truly available in the present moment.
You gotta be open to the encounter, to genuine encounter, and that's scary. But ethics is a willingness to be affected. Instead of trying to achieve resolution once and for all, we should rather strive to reanimate our engagement with the world into a more open, creative, curious approach that's oriented towards community and oriented towards organic rhythms and spatial practice that brings about health and well-being and wholesome
potential. I'm trying to restore the dimension of potentiality to actuality. I'm not trying to actualize potential. I'm trying, to the best of my ability, I'm striving to potentialize actuality.
I'm not stuck. I'm just overwhelmed. And I'm overwhelmed
Because
these things take time.
and I'm impatient.
Because it's too much. I'm overwhelmed because I'm disorganized.
There's so much information in the world. It's overwhelming.
It's terrifying how fragile absolutely everything is. How if it were just ever so slightly different, there may not be anything. From where does the richness of life come from? How does this obscene, undead material get recycled into the system? I am a ghost of past lives, and I will haunt you into the future.
And I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how to I need to organize myself because I'm dealing with all these huge existential questions. I'm frustrated because I'm kind of wading through the swamp of trauma that is my past 10 years of life, and I'm seeing the light, but I'm still moving so slowly that it's frustrating. This is the best I can do, and that I'm actually doing better than some other.
I don't always feel supported. I get toxic, I get hurtful. I don't feel comfortable expressing myself. Because when we put myself on the path to stay on track, in line with what I most believe is the highest ever good experience. I know there's flaws in that, and I can recognize that from that vulnerability followed famously tremendous, unprecedented, but unfathomable growth of maturity, of wisdom, of life experience, and practical love and social well-being. And yet, I still resist it. I still maybe hesitant to surrender to
The unknown. And yet, the more I cling to these certainties, the more I doubt myself, and the more I doubt myself, the more the limitless potential of my creative capacity becomes overwhelming. Paradox of choice. I don't know what to do. I feel stuck. I freeze. I ignore it. I avoid it. I'm anxious. I'm disorganized. I just I'm not very good at living the life that I want to live. I feel stuck, and it feels like the world is getting out of control. I don't know what I can reasonably expect out of myself, and maybe I just need to take things so much slower, so much more gently, so much more focused on fun, on enjoying the process. But does the internet really need more videos telling myself to, it's the journey, man. It's not the destination. It's all about the journey. It's all about the love. Has my lack of identity led to self-destruction?
To be honest, I just don't care. I don't care. It feels weird to be vulnerable in this way. It feels weird to be putting my stuff out there online without it being polished, but I know that in the past I had direct experience with this, that if I let perfectionism get the best of me, then nothing will ever get done, and I'll never talk to anyone about anything because I'm too particular. I don't want that some kind of swing completely in the opposite direction, and I'm sure there's pitfalls for this as well, but I mean, if I can be honest, I just don't care. I don't care.
Because I get paralyzed by the sheer volume of everything that has to get done if I am going to live in accordance to my values. Like, it's exhausting, and I need to plan for burnout in advance. I have to take my own inadequacy as an assumption from the very beginning, which is a kind of weird retroactive, preemptive step in order to ensure that I'm succeeding on some level, while recognizing the humility and the just general imperfect, finite being that I am.
Just feel good to be happy. It's a question of, can I change? Will I change? And these patterns of behavior, these habits, are difficult to overturn because I've been enmeshed and kind of embedded in a lifestyle, a way of being in the world that slants me, bends me in a particular direction, and if I'm to go against the grain, if I'm to challenge the status quo that I've accumulated over the years and actually bring about something that's intentional and meaningful and matters to me, not because it's just what's familiar, but because it's what I value. It's because what I put my trust in, what matters is I'm making small, manageable, meaningful steps in a forward-facing, present-minded. I'm just tired, and I need rest. I am on a journey. I'm just tired, and I need rest. I'm 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 not stuck. I'm overwhelmed.
I feel overwhelmed
because I don't move.
Stressed.
And I don't move because I'm tired and I need rest.
I'm not sure what to do with the fact that this is not a new feeling.
Do I know what rest is? And I don't actively make time to be in my body. Like, this is what I know I need to do. I need to ground myself in some sort of reality, I suppose, but it's difficult to actually feel at home in this world. And I want to make the world a better place, but
I shouldn't be trying to
I can
actualize my potential.
hardly make my
I
bed.
should be trying to restore to actuality
I want to make the world a better
potential
place,
itself. I should be trying to
remember the last
allow
time I
potentiality to fill the present moment. I should be able to recognize that right here, right now, I'm able to do so many different things. What can I do? What matters? What is most important? How should I prioritize? And how do I commit to that prioritization so I don't just merely kind of exist in this state of complete stuckness. No, I need to recognize that the goal isn't to, it's not like we have potential and then we reach there and then we're done. It's not like a linear journey. It's every moment we redefine what potential is possible in the current matrix of our, the current coordinates of our social situation. And so we are constantly redefining and exploring and acting in such a way as to promote radical potential, radical possibility that is unthinkable and imaginable, but the unthinkable happens.
I just need to let it go.
I'm gathering sense and trying to get it together, own my shit, and commit to the bit. You gotta commit to the bit. Other than thought, what is here right now? You gotta commit to the bit. I just need to let I'm gathering sense and trying to go get together, own my shit, and commit to the bit. You gotta commit to the bit. You gotta commit to the bit. Okay, what is the bit? The bit is any interval, any segment of any situation awareness that's possible, any time horizon that narrows the scope of what is possible. And so you need to commit to the bit. What is the bit? The bit is any extension of time. You can only take life one step at a time. You can't do everything all at once, so you need to commit to linear, tangible, quantitative steps. You need to intervals. You need to be able to put together a kind of.
I would create my own worlds in my own worlds in my head. I still don't know what my story is. I know of the self-doubt video, the feeling of vague anxiety that I talk about. That is anxious potential. That is a condition of potentiality itself. And so if you take away that vague anxiety, you take away potential. And potential is what is needed more than anything right now. Good leaders bring out the best of people's potential. They see potential and they encourage scared.
Action, alignment.
Scared of being seen.
Etc.
Scared of
faith.
My identity was formed on the basis of self-denial.
It's only a matter
of negation, self-doubt.
I'm just not very good at living the life I imagine I want to live. Is it because I don't actually want to live it, or because I am scared, I'm afraid to be
I started this
who I am.
video talking about
I fear myself more
how do you
than I can
approach
love,
problem that
at
cannot
at
be put into
this
words.
particular juncture
This is how I tried.
in life.
What is truth? How can life be born?
It feels uncomfortable to admit that I exist, and yet here I am. It feels scary to be thrown into the world and not have a justification for it, but here we are. And it's scary that I'm responsible for my own happiness. And yet,
How is one to bear oneself? Here's the key question to
How
which
do I
no
change?
one is able to give us an answer.
doing it.
actually do it. Don't ask how, just act and live in the moment. The action is the decision. The action is the answer. The consistency, the small wins, the accumulation of positive experiences and genuine progress. That's what's possible when you let go of the language and live the question. I'm doing my best. Really, it's a matter of what kind of life do you want to live, what kind of space.
Once we accept that there is a fundamental antagonism at the core of the real, that no matter how much we try to put our identity into language, we're always going to fall short. We're always indescribable. We're at that level of reality that's beyond words, and yet in order to be a subject, in order to be a person, you have to assume
I don't
as
overextend myself.
Yet you're always going to be able to doubt yourself.
But I'm trying my best. And whether or not I succeed, I know that it's a process, and then I'll get better at it in time, with time. And for the time being, it's working, because it is a work in progress. And it's a work in the same way that art is work. It's an artwork.
Now, how does this translate into practical action? That's an issue that it's kind of ongoing. I mean, that's a life project, right? That's going to take my entire lifetime. But I am developing habits, and I'm recognizing patterns, and am able to see how organic systems kind of give rise to natural rhythms that are so fun to embody, but they take work, and they take intention, and they take attention. And a lot of it is taking place offline, like unplugging and actually detaching from social media and corporations telling me what to think, and propaganda, and realizing the strange misinformation web that we exist in, and really, taking stock of the situation and coming to terms with just how strange it is not only to be alive at all, but also how different it is to be alive at this time in human history, at the start of the cusp of the 21st century, as a young adult, coming of age, techno-fascism, neoliberal, late-stage surveillance, capitalist, mass media, globalism, World War III. Whoa, that's a lot. It's a lot to think about. It's hard enough for me just to get out of bed and drive to work on time without rush. What I'm realizing now is that I need to wake up to the fact that I'm alive and I have a life to live. And even though I may be lacking in some areas and may actually experience this emptiness in a vastly disorienting and confusing and frustrating way, it's still ultimately my responsibility to take action for it, except there is no me behind the response. It's just, taking action and accepting what is given to me with joy and reticence and compassion and gratitude, and recognizing just how strange it is to be anything at all, that the universe formed in such a way through material processes and natural happenstance and maybe even teleological intention. How could we know? What is an act? When we take action, what does that entail? Act, a gesture, a movement, a rhythm, a pattern. It's all coming together. Where are we going? These things take time. One step, it's going to be okay. One day, it's going to be okay. And you know what? You're going to enjoy it by the end. You're going to miss this when it's gone. There's a last time for everything. And I mean, in the meantime, hey kid, inspire yourself.
Yeah. Now I just need something to say. Well, I'm out here in nature and I'm really enjoying it. And I would like to record something for the video that I've been working on. The video about self-doubt. And months ago, when I began making this video, I was in a very tight, confined, solipsistic space. And now, 2 years into this project, I just want to thank you for making it through this video and for giving me a chance. I am not very sure how I feel about this project because it's so big and it's gotten out of hand so fast so many times, but I'm glad I did it.
I'm trying to
and
find myself, as it were. I'm trying to create myself in a world in which categories have defined my life for so long. And it's in trying to break from the mold, trying to break from this conceptualization of knowledge as being fixed or logical or independent or transcendent. Really, like, I want to be in the world and I want to express myself and I want to feel connected to the universe, because I know deep down that all of this is what created me, and I am just as much the universe as the universe is out there. I have a physical body. I consume plants and animals, and these become my body, and my body is produced by organisms that preceded me and evolved in a way beyond my comprehension. And yet I'm also constructed socially in a sense in which my identity can be defined in terms of labels that can be used to either empower or disempower me and others. And it's a slow process. You have to really be gentle with yourself and not let the world decide your progress for you. I get to decide how I see myself, how I experience myself, and all of it is beautiful, all of it is tender, all of it is special and unique, and yet universal and collective. And so by trying to heal myself, I'm trying to heal the world, and in doing so, make it a better place.
Please share your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear whatever you have to say.
Isn't that badass?